Greetings.
Greetings, Turtletarians, one and all. This is your boy Ryan,
It's your boy Easy.
and you are listening to or watching, hopefully,
Ooh.
Turtle Soup, the internet, nay, the world's only community-supported podcast dedicated to the ongoing journey of the TMNT all the way from the very beginning until I stop being so damn good at cooking on the flat top grill,
Ooh.
which will hopefully be never.
Yes.
So we got smash burgers going on over here. We got all kind of stuff, and I love my flat
burger
top,
time.
and it's great. It's burger time, bro.
That's awesome.
So until then, you know what I mean? Like, we're good to go, and I don't think that'll ever stop.
No.
We are
Kitchen's
also one thing that ain't also ever gonna stop is us being live on YouTube. You know what I
true.
mean? That changes come and it's here to stay. You know what I'm saying? If you're watching, be sure to subscribe, like the video, and hit the bell icon to get all the notifications when we have new episodes. We are almost always live every Thursday at 8 o'clock
Yeah.
Eastern. Emergencies and other random crap, notwithstanding. If you're listening to audio version, come over because we do a pregame show. We do stuff like that. And if you're on the YouTube, and also we are, as of last checking, at 399 subscribers. So be the 400th subscriber.
Yeah,
you know
come
what I'm
on, it
saying?
could be
Be
you.
that person. Step it up. It could be you, and that's important. You know what I'm saying? Another thing that's important, though. You know what I'm saying? And I'm feeling it tonight, especially.
Ooh.
Are our patrons. You know what I mean? A couple in particular we're going to shout out real fast is Jake Niehaus and Noah Overton, who are both longtime Turtletarians and help us not say clang.
Good dudes.
It is very easy to become a patron. You know what I'm saying? For little as $1. We have really cool rewards that Eric slaves over a hot stove to make. You know what I'm saying? And it happens. You know what I'm saying?
Not a flat top, but
it's not a flat top, but it could be one day. You know what I mean? Like, you never know. You know what I mean? Maybe that 400 subscriber will really
put us over the top.
Get us kicking. I am, this is the first episode on my new computer. As everyone that's been listening knows, my computer just died. It just said clang. It just happened to it.
Yeah.
It's a machine that I brought almost into the podcast. I had it running for 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it was only a couple years we were doing the show when I built this. Just, me and my buddy Brad built this, and it was great this whole time. And then it absolutely, I'm talking just motherboard, CPU, everything failed. Like, it was just like a massive failure. So patron people made it possible for me to be on this new machine right now, which we built, and it's fantastic. And this is the first one on there. So thank you so much, patrons, and specifically Jake and Noah. You know what I'm saying? You guys are, this one's for you. You know what I'm saying? But see, some things are for the patrons. Some things are for the, like Jake and Noah. Tonight it's for them. This is like a party for
all
them,
about them.
Basically. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, it's like a love letter to Jake and Noah. But one thing that's for everybody, regardless, is this step in the journey. You know what I'm saying? And what step are we going to take today, Eric?
Man, Ryan, we got our stepping shoes on tonight. We are in the year 1998. You all right? I got to watch it when you're drinking. The stepping shoes.
I was in that coffee, and you got me those stepping shoes, man. I started imagining what stepping shoes would look like.
Oh yeah.
Man, I got a lot of different things in my head all at once.
Oh yeah.
So
like you go to start stepping and you got a cobbler that pops out of nowhere and be like, hey, no, those aren't stepping shoes.
For some reason, stepping shoes to me, you think they'd be really cool, but what they actually look like are like those little like black like patent leather shoes.
Yeah.
That like girls in like elementary school wear all the time.
Yeah.
And that's what they look like. But you're like, I'm a grown man.
Right.
And it's like, well, you want to step? You're like, I guess. And now you're wearing those things.
Yep. It's all about the journey. You got to step. You got to step to be a part of the journey. And well, we're stepping into September of 1998, all the way back there. We're going to be flipping through Image Comics, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Volume 3, number 17 tonight. And
it's on.
This one's interesting, and and if this is your first time checking us out, and you're like, "Ooh, Image!" Like, I've heard bad stuff. No, you need to go rethink that, because
we've been really loving this run so far. You know what I mean? I mean, we'll talk about this comic when we talk about it, but we've been loving this Image run. I mean, there's been a lot of promise of the premise type stuff happening here. So
absolutely,
if it's your first one, buckle in,
buckle up, buckle in. Get set, get ready, because this one's gonna be a good one, and just in line with the rest of them. So yeah. So I think that's where we're at. So you doing all right, man? We haven't seen each other in a minute.
I was talking about on the pregame show. I had a contact rip part of my eye off. That was unfortunate.
Oh.
So that's why I'm in glasses tonight. Get my contacts back tomorrow, and that means I get to see like a real boy.
Yeah.
Because I hate glasses more than I can put into words.
Yeah.
And I've tried over the course. Every time I have to wear glasses because my contacts are messed up, my eyes are messed up. Everyone I live with knows. I will try to put it into words. I may not be successul, so I'm not going to try now.
Right.
But I complain a bunch. You know what I mean? I hate them. So should be back in contacts tomorrow.
Yeah.
That, and I wanted to drop a quick shameless plug for Alicia, my wife's book that came out.
Oh yeah.
Love in the Time of Serial Killers. It just came out on Berkeley on Tuesday. And things are going really well. She had a really fun book release party over at Tombolo Books in St. Pete. They were amazing. And if you're in the St. Pete area, go by Tombolo. They're an amazing shop, like amazing indie shop. And they really like rolled the red carpet out for her. And it was
awesome.
Absolutely awesome. Super awesome. So I love that store. And it's a romance novel. And it's about a girl who is doing her dissertation on serial killers, specifically true crime. And she has a neighbor next door who's this dude that she's pretty sure is a serial killer. Like the stuff that he's up to is super weird. But yeah, it's a romance novel. It's really sweet and really funny and stuff like that. And it's a great book. And go check it out if you are inclined to read the romance.
I'm excited.
That is a banger.
Yeah, I'm excited for my wife to read it to me. Yeah.
No, it's like having your own audiobook.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which I'm actually like, it's like a 9-hour audiobook. So that's
right. I forgot
really
you
nice,
actually
that,
did.
That meets.
I forget that actually happened.
Oh my God.
Yes. You talked to me
really
about
happened.
it. But yeah.
It was
That's
crazy.
nuts.
Yeah. Like they sent her, it was because I love audiobooks to death.
Right.
So when they said like, oh yeah, do an audiobook, she's like, oh my God. And when you like see the process, it was so cool. So like they sent her a link to a website where they had a bunch of different people read for it, like the same like couple paragraphs.
Yeah.
And it's all these audio files, and you get to listen to them and choose a narrator you like. And the one that she got was so good.
Yeah.
Just absolutely great. And it was cool to like help her pick it out. And then all of a sudden, it's an audiobook on Audible.
Yeah.
It's just there. And it sounds great. And it's
That's
beautiful.
wild.
And I'm like I'm 7 hours into it.
Yeah.
I've just been grinding it like nonstop since the book came out.
That's
trying
amazing.
to get through it. At one speed, Francisco, not 1.25, 1.5. You know what I'm saying? I'm at
that's
standard.
For the next listen.
No, there's nothing for the next listen. But yeah, I just want to shout her out really fast. She worked really hard on it, and it's been really cool having it come out and stuff like that. And that's kind of been me. What about you, man?
Oh man, I had a ton of stuff I was going to talk about. Now I don't remember any of it. But yeah,
All right, so moving on.
I know, right? My wife and I did a market this weekend, a punk rock flea market, which was really neat. But and we got to take advantage of the new button maker that we got thanks to our patrons. That the patrons will soon be reaping getting the product from that soon
for reasons that will become clear to you shortly.
Thank you. That's what I was trying to get out. And and it's really neat. I'm really happy with that. And we had a good market. It was a lot of fun, and we got a bunch more coming up. So that's really cool. And there was something Turtles related I was going to talk about, but I can't seem to think. Like my mind went blank as soon as I asked you how yours was going. I was like, oh, they're whatever. So it must not have been that important. But
can I talk really fast about how disappointed I am in my Target right now?
Oh, absolutely. That's one of my favorite things to talk about.
My Target toys are garbage.
Is this Bloomingdale?
It is garbage. This is Bloomingdale.
Okay.
Absolute garbage.
Yeah.
So they have the area in the back near electronics now where all the adult stuff is. Okay.
Yeah.
You go right there. Okay. They got no NECA turtle, nothing. Forget about it.
Yeah.
And they have a crap ton of like other like just standard NECA horror, just like Frankenstein, something like that. Aliens.
Yeah.
That's cool, but it's also always looks like it's like a pawn shop. It looks like it's been like rummaged through.
Yes.
And it's awful. And I go every couple of weeks. I go to Target every week to shop for groceries.
Right.
Every couple of weeks, I let myself go through there and look. And I am very disappointed. There was one Muckman and Joe Eyeball, and now it's gone.
Yeah.
And they have not done anything.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm missing out because I'd be in on more of these NECA figures, find them in the wild. Be really cool.
Oh, yeah.
FYE in the mall actually was great about stocking stuff for TMNT.
Yeah.
But I haven't been there in a while.
Right.
But yeah, I just want to say, like, man, if you guys got a good Target where like they're on fleek, like like, make sure to, go up to Target and hug it, next time you're there. You know what I mean? Like really don't take it for granted, man. Yeah. Like all the way and do like a tour. You know what I mean? Because my Target blows for toys, and I'm very pissed about it. It's not fun.
It's funny you mentioned that. So 2 weeks ago, Shannon, my wife, she was like, "Hey, I want to go yard sailing," which I'm all about too. So whatever. So we decided to go like down to, where did we go? Sarasota, I think, somewhere like way the hell down there. And we went. And we didn't look out the yard sales or anything, but I was like, "Hey, let me hit up a few Walmarts and Targets as we make our way back home." And it's one of those things that you don't know what you got till it's gone, kind of thing. Where you're like, "Dang, okay." So like, I'm actually starting to appreciate my Walmart and the Targets that are near to me, because they're actually pretty good, far better than the ones that are down there. And so I know what you're saying. It's weird because it's hard to read all that unless you're like talking to like the reps and stuff. You don't really know like what they're doing with any of that stuff, like with the adult collectible things. Because I've seen some people put them, some Targets have them in the toy section too as a part of it, and then some have it like you were saying, and how most of ours were in the electronics department. But things keep getting moved around. But I don't know if you saw the last week when you were out, I jumped in and I did a news segment.
Yeah.
And
I was in that chat. I caught the end of your segment. I was in there joshing around in the chat, and you didn't even go back to chat, bro.
I didn't.
All right, well, that's the news. So, hey, I'm Eric Crosby. I was like, God damn.
Yeah, I was so focused that like I forgot to do that. And then by the time I realized I could go back, it was already too late. But yeah, so PowerCon happened, and they said basically that, or Randy, who is a big one of the tops at NECA, said that once Mutant Mayhem starts gearing up, you're gonna see a ton of this stuff again. So that should give you some solace. But yeah, it sucks going into like a big box store and like they have nothing.
Wooly Rhino in chat says, "Dude, my Target neck is blown in the 2 nearby locations."
Ooh,
so like that's just like sucks because like
it's horrible.
Yeah, it just really blows. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if Target itself has like just a downswing, or if you've been seeing better stuff at your Target. Like I don't know. Like, but we're blown out. And I do check the toys too.
Yeah,
like the regular toy aisle.
Right,
like because it's on my way to the register, so I just kind of like go back through.
Might as well
just to see.
Yeah,
and like. Honestly, the pickings are slim kind of all around.
Well, like, I think a little bit of that is probably still with them catching up with all the pandemic stuff, because we started to see in the action figure community, a lot of people were posting a lot of clearance stuff that just got put out like 2 weeks after it had been put out. It's like, oh, all the movie Power Rangers where they're in their Ninjati uniforms or whatever they're called, those were out 2 weeks and then clearanced. And yeah, it's like, that's very strange. So it seems like they're trying to just play catch up to get current again. And that could explain a little bit of why you're seeing that. But maybe. I don't know. It's not been as big of an ordeal for me as far as NECA is concerned, because NECA's stepped up their game tremendously online with like their sales and whatnot. But but to your point, like there's people that just, when they see it, that's what it works for them, and they can get it in hand.
Yeah, see, for me, it's a lot easier to like, at least pulling the trigger is easier for me if it's there in person, and I'm like, oh, it's here for groceries, but I'll grab this too.
Yeah.
Then for me to sit down and be like, okay, I'm gonna order these online. It's a different mechanic for me, absolutely, and the odds that I'll buy a figure online are a lot lower than if I'll buy it in person.
Yeah,
like 100% lower.
Totally get
so that. Like. Yeah, you just go to a seat, check the paint app. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like handling the produce. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, you want to squeeze that tomato. You know what I mean?
Well, speaking of that, dude, I don't know if you've heard about this, but like a lot of like Hasbro stuff, and I think even Mattel's going to be doing it, but I think Hasbro started it. They're doing less plastic, so they're not having a window like that you can see into the figures. Like here, let me see. So. I got
what?
So yeah, so they now come at, so this is, I'm showing a picture for the audio listeners of the Fortnite Meowscles. It's just a box, dude. So yeah, it's just a box. There's no way you can see inside of it, and yeah, so you're just hoping for the best. Now, I appreciate that.
That sucks.
I appreciate what they're doing. I get the sentiment and the idea, and that's cool. And hopefully they can, whatever savings they're getting from that, they can pass that along to the consumer. But still, I'm like, goodness, that
I'm gonna put my tinfoil hat on already.
Okay.
Yeah, that ain't the only savings they're saving.
Right.
Is having to sell figures at clearance or having them returned to them for bad paint apps, in my opinion. Okay. Like, let's be honest. Like, part of the upside of that is it basically makes your figure a blind box figure where you can't judge the paint app.
Yeah.
And then I bet you I returned this for paint app number is so low, actually, in true reality. Right. People just keep it. And I guarantee you that's the hugest motivator behind it.
Interesting. Because see, they don't because when you return these things, they don't, because I do that all the time. They don't ask you. They just say, okay, take your stuff, which is cool. But I think to your point, like they when they look at it, they're like, why did these get returned? It's probably because bad paint. Yeah. So that could be a factor. But
I just see that. Maybe I'm just way too suspicious of corporations in general.
Oh, yeah.
Because I am. But I see that and I'm like, I can see him being like, oh, we're saving the environment one window at a time. And it's like, yeah, like y'all literally make toys out of plastic.
Yeah, it's kind of your whole thing.
Really care about the environment, like when it comes to your business model, like you saving that little bit of plastic on, the window. Like literally, you're making action figures out of dead dinosaurs. Like, don't act like you're not. You know what I mean? Like your carbon footprint's ridiculous.
Oh yeah. And
like, I think I don't know. Like that feels like lame.
I think that the Transformers, that's where I first started seeing it, and they just where the window would be, they just don't have it. So it's just a little bit. You can see the characters, like you can see and touch the figure. It's just an open window. It's kind of wild, but yeah, that's kind of where they're going. So I forgot how we got on this, but nevertheless.
We'll talk about paint app or different things. Like we talked about, like
seeing it in person. Seeing it in person.
Yeah, it was seeing it in person. Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah,
that's a big deal. Chat's been up a little bit. Paul says my Target still has TMNT Cobra Kai figures collecting dust. That's lame. Willie Rhino says seeing is believing when buying NECA. That's the reason I bought up Dirtbag and Ground Chuck. Now, if I would have ran into Dirtbag and Ground Chuck over there, I probably would have bought them. You know what I'm saying? Like that would have happened, bro. I love Dirtbag so much. The character design for Dirtbag is like one of my favorite ever. Like I would have bought that no problem.
Right.
Then Paul comes in again and says, "Yep, some Transformers packages don't have the plastic windows, so half the figures are missing their heads."
Oh yeah. Kind of like how the LeBron James figures got their heads taken off. That was a weird time in toy collecting.
That's a weird thing to collect. Yeah. That's odd. But anyway, moving on. Okay. Unless you had more, you remembered more of your stuff you wanted to say.
No, I don't. I don't remember any of it. Okay. So yeah.
So we are gonna chat real fast about the rise of the TMNT film.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, if you don't want to hear this, we're not gonna really drop spoilers, but if you want at some point you haven't seen it yet and you really don't want anything about this, then wait it out, I guess. Like I'll give you a thumbs up when we're done talking.
Right. Yeah. Just like for
mute the live stream and then thumbs up and you'll be good. Or whatever. But actually I was thinking, how about 10 minutes on the clock? Also.
Okay, we can go for that and see. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, we can
10 minutes on the clock to talk about it in case you're listening to the audio podcast and you're like, "Oh man. We're not going to be spoilery." But
no, if anything, we're going to try to just cover anything that's in the trailer, so we won't really go into anything too deep.
Try to keep it all right. So 10 minutes on the clock starts now.
Okay.
And I'll redo the intro if we wanted to clip it or whatever.
Oh, that's fine. Whatever.
Okay, so we're here to talk about the rise of the TMNT film that came out on Netflix. We had a week off the podcast, so we couldn't really talk about it too much. I know we both really wanted to talk about it, that week.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna keep this pretty spoiler free. But once again, 10 minutes on the clock. So, what'd you think?
Oh, me? I enjoyed the hell out of it. I just was now. I didn't, and you're in the same boat because we watched the first episode of Rise and we didn't watch anything after that, and we thought there's some cool stuff here, but not really it's not really what we wanted, at least at the time, and still maybe even today. But good and bad. However, we didn't continue on with the series. And then we heard a lot of people talking about this thing, and there was a lot of like stuff in the community where people were hating on other people because they either hated it or they loved it, and it's just this whole thing. And so I was like, okay, let's just watch it. So we my wife and I, we watched it, and I did a story thing on Instagram. So if you want to check out that and see some of the funny things that are in there, if you don't really want to watch it but just want to see our hot takes, you can check that on our Instagram. But besides that part of it, the rest, just watching the movie was pretty good. It was better than I thought it was going to be. And the things that I found annoying about it ended up like kind of in like throughout the movie, they made sense, and they kind of like just got in the whole mixture of everything to where it was like more palatable, I guess. And but my favorite thing was what they did with the Krang, because in the trailer it talks about the Krang are in this, and that was probably like the fact that they make it body horror and like
so that's something I wanted. That's something I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, that was
first of all, I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, I really, really, really loved it. It might have just been low expectations, and then they hit it out of the park or something for me.
Right.
But the body horror element was fantastic. I loved what they did with the Krang. And it's I think I heard online you said it might be your favorite iteration of Krang you've seen so far.
Yeah.
And I gotta be honest, I kind of agree. I think that this is one of the freshest, coolest takes on the Krang that you could get. It is so intricate. That's one thing. So I'm kind of like this. I'm just gonna say something pretty out there. I'm just gonna let it ride, and then
hold on. Let me buckle. Let me get strapped in.
You make sure. Right. I mean, you're I sold you the whole seat, but you're only gonna need that. You know what I mean? Let me say, if you don't like this movie, if you're actively talking shit about this movie, you haven't seen it.
Right.
Like, that's where I'm at. Like, I know that sounds rough. I can't see how you're a Turtles fan and you don't at least like this, much less like love it. It is, everyone is dead on. Obviously the Splinter isn't my scale.
Yeah.
Right. Like we've talked about that when we watched episode 1. Not my scale. However, he's not really in it a ton.
Yeah, no.
And it is all about the Brotherhood. It is so good. It is so good. It's so hard not to be spoilery.
It is.
But they even get you. So I'm just gonna say this. A lot of people's main sticking point, me and you had a big sticking point on the composition of the Brotherhood and quote unquote maybe who's in charge.
Yeah.
The way they handled that and the way they brought that around at the end is amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. And I don't even really know what more to say about it. It was shot, it was edited, and the storyboarding alone and the little intricate things in every frame and the depth of field and it is cinematically amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that. It was really good, and I enjoyed a lot of it. The very few things that I found annoying were just like it was just the stuff in the show that I didn't like in the first episode either.
Sure.
But that doesn't mean that, I'm not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater kind of thing. So,
but doesn't it feel to you almost like they mitigated a lot of that anyway?
It did. Like, it totally did.
Do you know what I mean?
I do.
It felt like for some reason, everything, so when it starts out, the opening sequence is honestly very Rise. It is all just fully Rise of the TMNT as if it were the show. Yeah. And then they basically strip it all away. I can't say enough about that. That even if you weren't a fan of Rise, I still think you love this. I really do.
I agree. And I think one of the other things I loved about it was all of Donnie's stuff, because the way that he's integrated a lot of his technology, that was really cool. And
that was awesome.
Yeah. And they don't, and then the different villains that come in and out of the show, this movie, that was really neat. And then how certain things interact with those, like the new and the older villains, that was really fascinating. And I was like, this is a lot more enjoyable than I thought. And it just goes to show that Turtles, the Ninja Turtles can just adapt to pretty much anything, and it's all a matter of taste. Like, we're not telling you that if you don't like this, then you're wrong. That's, you're entitled to your opinion, of course. But like,
I was kind of saying that, but
yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, but it just bears it bears repeating that.
Yeah.
That it just shows that you could still like stuff in this, but you don't have to like the whole thing. Like, we just enjoyed the whole as it was made, the way the talent, divorcing all of the narrative out of it. If you just watched it, it looked really good. It sounded good. It had cool stuff in it, and the characters did cool things. Like, I know that sounds very generic and basic, but
I'll go a step further on that. That's all true. The reason I kind of use it, I challenge people to say, like, tell me you didn't like it. Mm-hmm. And then and once again, after you've seen it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's, yeah.
Because I think there's a lot of trash talk because it's Rise.
Yes.
And they just saw a trailer and go, garbage.
Yeah.
If you've seen the movie and can tell me scenes you don't like actual scenes from the movie, I'd love to hear why.
Yeah.
Because my big thing is the thing the movie does really, really well, even though it's rooted in a different interpretation of the Turtles, right? Mm-hmm. And honestly, maybe a more controversial iteration of them. And one of the most divisive iterations. Mm-hmm. It, beyond what you were saying, not only does it look beautiful, it's done really well, mm-hmm. but it strips everything down, and a lot of the narrative and storytelling is about the brotherhood of the Turtles.
Yeah.
Like, it just shows you that they transcend mm-hmm. every iteration.
It does.
It gets almost everything right about their characters. Mm-hmm. Like, completely. And yeah, like Leo being the kind of guy that talks back, kind of almost being a weird, like, taking over some of Mikey's role a little mm-hmm. bit. In that version of Turtles is definitely not my scale.
Yeah.
But they even deal with that. I don't know. Like, I just keep like going to like
you're right.
Any complaint you may have, they deal with it. So it's like, what is there not to like?
My biggest ones is Splinter. Not a big fan of, even though what he does was handled well. I just didn't like that design for him. And then April and Leo's attitude, like the way that they present themselves, was a little bit annoying to me. April's seemed more like that's her character, and Leo's does too. But I think this movie the whole point of this movie is addressing Leo's character.
Yeah,
and
So
once I realized that, then I'm like, okay, so I'm supposed to let this go a little bit. I'm not supposed to hold on to this. And that helped me get past that part. But then there's so many like references and like cool little things in there that are neat. But but again, I was not expecting it to be so horror based. Like, how much stuff is in there that's like sci-fi and just really freaky, like John Carpenter's The Thing kind of vibes. And that was where it went from being like, oh, this is like a Teen Titans kind of, which I love. I love Teen Titans Go and all that stuff. But this is like something for kids. This took blew that kind of argument out of the water, because it just was like, I'm a little scared. I'll admit I'm a little afraid.
Yeah, no, and it does a lot of great. I was really, really highly impressed. I watched it with Father President at the house, and I got done with that thing, and I walked outside, and I was just I was like on a loop where I was going, I can't believe it was that good. I can't believe that movie was that good.
Yeah.
I'd be quiet for a while, and Preston would say some things he liked about it. We go, I'd just come back and be like, I can't believe that hit like that did. I can't believe that it was so well made and so intricate. And that's the other thing too. If you saw Rise's animation style and you were kind of like, I'm not a fan of that 2D shit, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This movie just ain't that.
Yeah,
this movie is like blockbuster. It's like a blockbuster version of that. It's completely beautiful animation, and like just the attention and time paid to it alone, just the intricacy, it just blows my mind.
Oh yeah,
that it's so intricate. Every shot is really, really intricate. It's really beautiful.
And then I remember one things that I loved about Rise was the foot soldiers. I loved their look.
Yeah.
I thought their look was really neat and sleek, and that was really cool. And they show up, the spoiler alert, but they show up and they look fantastic. And then the villains that I didn't know that are like, I guess like in the actual show proper. They were fun, and they reminded me of like what was cool about some of the other iterations where you didn't have a toy of this character or you didn't know about them, and they'd show up and you'd be like, who is this? I want to. It triggered that in me. I was really excited about that, and I'm like, I wouldn't mind seeing these guys in other iterations of the Turtles. Like, that'd be really rad. And that's the beautiful thing about these different iterations, is that once they come out, like they bring their own thing to the table that you might not have got if they just were a carbon copy of 87 animated series or 2003 or 2012. And that's one of the things that got me so excited about this movie. And as I was watching it and getting hyped in it, and it felt reminiscent of when, like I was just saying, when you're a kid and you didn't know, or when you're playing the video games and you see like some characters that they don't have toys and they're not in the cartoon, like they were made for that video game. And you're like, oh, I want to see more of that.
The thing that kind of blows my mind about it, that I told Father President afterwards, is when the movie started, it's not my Turtles. I'll be honest. Like I'm just like a lot of people that aren't a big fan of Rise. I don't spend all day online being like, oh, screw you. If you like Rise, you suck. Like, I think that's dumb. But that's not my thing. So it started out and it was very Rise. And I was not surprised. And I told myself, and it started getting good. And I was already thinking, I'm like, this is going to be like it's feeling going to be like a 6, 7 out of 10 for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I got to deduct some points because of the Rise stuff. Obviously, the magic weapons. And these are all things I'm just not familiar with. I don't hate that, but not necessarily my scale.
Right.
But at the end, I was like, it addressed it. It basically like righted the ship for me. Everything I saw in the first 10, 15 minutes that I was like, that ain't my scale. No, that's not my scale. They literally addressed it and made it great. Like they literally like messed with it. They addressed it. They pulled it out on the carpet and fucked with it and put it back. And I was just like, okay. Like at the end, I was like, you did all of it. Yeah. Like that's why for me, it's like a 10 out of 10 for me. Cause I'm like, okay. So we have, this is a personal take, and we're going way over the 10 minutes. But
I was about to say,
personal take. Well, you're in the middle of making a really good point with 10 minutes. I didn't want to be the guy.
Hey, that's fine.
We need a buzzer sound or something.
Oh,
that way, no one's the bad guy.
Yeah, no, you're good.
My thing is, I was not a fan of the Platinum Dunes film. You know what I'm saying? The Platinum Dunes films, I really didn't like them. Those are the movies we've had since we've been doing this podcast. Yeah. Like, since I've been in deep, like on that journey, like walking down that lone trail with my boy. Right. You know, there's only one set of footprints. He's carrying me the whole time.
That's
true.
What I mean?
I do. I have not been excited about a Turtles movie. Yeah. I've never liked one. So for being almost 10 years in this game, and to see a movie come out that I ended just like blown out. Yeah. How great it was. Yeah. Means a ton to me. Yeah. Like it really means a ton to me. And I feel like I appreciate it even more having been on this journey. And that's, I think, my biggest point about it, right? Yeah. Is just like, I have not had fun watching a Turtles movie since I was a kid. Right. Like seeing it for the first time, right? Yeah. Like obviously we have fun with the old movies and stuff, but like when we reviewed them. But I'm so happy to have a TMNT film to be like proud of, to actually be able to like walk around and say like, look, my dude, like, have you seen it yet? Like really watch it. And I really want to know what you think about it afterwards. Like, I really want to talk to you about this. I want to drill deep and really geek out on it. Yeah. And how beautiful is that to have that? And to have it be so unexpected too. So unexpected. Everyone's got their eyes on Mutant Mayhem. Yeah. Seth Rogen. Everyone's got their eyes on, oh my God, I can't wait. Oh my God, I can't wait. Well, my message is it's there. It's on Netflix right now. Like you're like, like, you know what I mean? Like a TMNT film that you can really, like, it's touching and honestly made me laugh out loud like several times. Oh yeah. Like, literally. Like me and Father Preston are cracking up, like make you laugh, get your eyes a little teary and all that stuff and be such a great movie. And that was just for free.com. On Netflix. Like, so I'm telling you, if you're got your eyes on the horizon for Seth Rogen, like, yo, while you're waiting, there's another TMNT movie that you could love. And it's literally there if you have a Netflix subscription.
And that's an excellent point. All of that was great. That's you pulled together all these ideas that I was feeling and you put them into words. And so thank you for that. But you have a very valid point. And that's something, again, Likewise, the same thing with the Platinum Dune stuff. But we went into those movies knowing that we didn't really like them. We didn't like what we had seen.
We had a strong indication. Like we were like, all right, let's see. I was prepared.
Oh yeah,
I was prepared to like it.
Yeah, because we like.
Let me tell you something. Like 10 minutes in, I'm like, you call this family? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Oh yeah.
And it never addressed my problems. It just gave me more problems.
It just said, my man, which is the only
honestly,
good part
I was a little like, it's the kind of thing, and this, once again, just in my opinion, because I don't like to trash on what people like out of this franchise.
Right.
For me, it was something I was ashamed of.
Oh, goodness.
Like hosting a TMNT podcast, and then people will be like, oh, TMNT, oh, like those movies?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, the new ones?
Yeah.
And I'm like that's not it. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? That ain't it. Right.
Yeah.
So what about something that you can be so excited about?
And that's like, and that's what's beautiful
huge.
about this movie, like you said. But the thing is that we went into it also having preconceptions of what the show was, and having watched one episode, knowing that we didn't really care for it, and then doing a complete 180 and being like, yeah, oh, this is actually really good. So that feels good. I love that.
Yeah, my expectations were like 2 out of 10.
Yeah.
I had like a 20% on that. So I thought the odds of me coming out going, all right, was like 20%. And it absolutely blew me out of the water how good it was.
Yeah.
So once again, we love to hear your stuff. Email us at turtlesoup@gmail.com. Let us know what you think about the stuff. Comment on on the video. Let us know what you think. Love to hear. And like I said, if you don't like the film, I'd love to hear why. Yeah. Like, I don't mean like, oh, so I can call you out. No, I really want to know, because it would be a very different perspective than I have. And I'd be really interested to hear it. Right. Yeah. I think we both would be very interested to hear dissenting opinions and stuff like that about the film, because obviously we're both sold, right? Like we're both like, we both right now are calling this family.
Yeah. Definitely.
So reach out and let us know what you thought about the film and stuff. I'd love to hear everybody's thought process.
Yeah. Cool.
Ooh.
Goodness, that was good.
Oh my God. So, yeah, it was. Paul in chat's like, so I'm here and watch this tonight. Yes, Paul, definitely watch it tonight.
Yes, do that.
Really watch it. I know, Paul. I know you're gonna love it. It's one of those things where, like, if you're like, oh, like Rise isn't my scale, I'm gonna give you 80% that you're gonna end that movie going, okay, Rise.
Yeah.
Like when it ended, I didn't even think of it as a Rise of the TMNT film at the end.
Yeah.
Like at the end, I was kind of like, oh, that's just a great Turtles movie then.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like, badass. Like, obviously, and this isn't to like take away from the creators of Rise. Like, it's their movie, right? And their character design and feel is throughout the film. Yes. It's not like all of a sudden they just betrayed their whole premise.
Right.
They stick to their premise.
Yeah.
But they also evolve it. And they mess with all the conventions from their show. And that's so smart.
It is.
That's so smart to take like magical weapons. What if they stop being magic?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Our roles are a little different. What if those started shifting on you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's
neat.
Really good.
It is.
Really, really good. Really good.
Yeah. And if you don't feel inclined, again, like I said, to watch it, you can just find the thing I made on our Instagram, and that'll get you, at least if you don't like that, then I don't know what to tell you. So yeah.
I thought you did that as stories.
I did, but it's saved or something. I'm like such an old man when it comes to that. So it's like there's
the whole thing.
I think it's like a highlight or something is what the kids call it. And
are they reels? Are you doing reels?
There's so many words for all this stuff.
Or whatever. Whatever.
So if you go to our page, Turtle Soup Show with the underscores, right before you start seeing a bunch of black and white pictures of me, you'll see Rise of the TMNT under like in a little circle. And you click that, and you can see a bunch of the stories that I made. And it was really fun. And if y'all like that, the next time stuff like this comes out, we can keep doing that, Ryan and I both. And
absolutely,
it was just something I was testing out just to see, because on a whim, I was just like, let me just try this. So hopefully y'all enjoyed that. And like we said a minute ago, let us know. Email us and let us know.
Lettuce.
So speaking of lettuce, Ryan.
Ooh, that lettuce. You ready to start this comic book?
I am ready to start flipping.
All right,
let's start flipping.
TMNT Image number 17 from September of 1998. It could be yours for $2.95 back in the day. Time travel, the newsstand. Maybe you remember buying it, but you're like, man, back in '98, man, how much money was that? Well, it's $2.95 plus tax. whatever tax was in your area.
Right.
Of course, Canadians paid more. They always do.
They do
for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know why. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, that had like really bad implications.
It did.
I did not mean. Like,
I don't know why.
Like, that meant to be one of those like half-ass, like we know why, ha ha ha.
Oh, right.
And we know why.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, that sounds like I have like a motive. Like that sounds like I have like an angle.
Right.
I don't have angles.
No,
Canadians are great.
Yes.
It's just sad that Canadian money is just worth less than ours, and that's unfortunate. Because I really wish it.
Do their comics?
That wasn't how that was.
Do their comics come in a bag like their milk does? Is that how that works? Because that could be why they pay more.
Oh, no,
I don't know
why. Because they
Canadians,
plastic. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? They just have more money to share around.
That's probably what it is.
You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's nice to be like, oh yeah, like normally this comic book, man, it's like $3, but over here it's like $4.
Right.
How about that?
What if it was because they value things so much more that they're like, no, I'm going to pay more for that.
Oh,
I'm going to give you one more.
Nice. Yeah,
like they go the extra mile.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, it's all because they have a lot more money in the market. Because like unlike America, their employers are probably like, you did a good job. Here's a raise.
Right.
And they're like, more money.
Yeah.
And then they're like, ooh, we need to charge more money because there's more money.
Right.
And it became the whole problem. But it was all very nice. It was all very well meaning.
Oh, of course.
Like they had runaway inflation, but it was not due to corporate greed. It was literally just due to like, we tried to pay them more, but it messed everything up.
Right. Yeah.
Damn. Oh,
they were too nice.
Something like that. Yeah, we were too nice. So issue 17, September 1998. This cover though.
This
Eric,
cover.
What do you think about this cover?
This cover's fantastic. I love this cover.
It's a beautiful cover.
It's a beautiful cover. I love it because it's something that goes back to comics like this thing about comics that the inside. We here on the Soup we talk about the promise of the premise, and like we want, generally speaking, that we want the outside to reflect the inside, at least like what you're gonna get, because that's what we're paying for. And this reminds me of art that you would see on the inside, because you know how a lot of comics have arguably different or better, depending on your taste, art on to sell the cover. You know what I mean? So
they've cover artists for a reason. Like it's like
precisely.
Deal,
Well, this this Image run has a lot of that. Like there's a bunch of issues that look like, oh snap, like this was they took their time.
This was that era. Yeah. There was an era in the mid to late 90s where they did really oversell the cover.
Yeah. Well, this
is the era I think is the most indicative of that never happens in the comic.
Right.
Era.
Well, this has that rushed feeling, but it's not. It's quality and it's great, but it has a little bit of this is the interior art kind of. It needed to get done.
No, it does,
but it still is.
It does.
It has that energy, I guess, is maybe what I'm trying to say. But it's got your boy Leonardo. He's in the sewer or somewhere where there's water, and he's holding a little tiny baby alligator, just holding by the tail.
Little baby alligator.
And then there is this monstrous crocodile-esque creature, some sort of monster, in silhouette behind him as Leonardo is looking at us with a flashlight in our face. And there's water all around, and it looks like he's in the sewer because it stands to reason that the turtles sewers, they go hand in hand. And it looks great, but I love the little gator because it kind of just like takes a little bit of the menacing part away. Like it kind of brings some levity to it. It's
also a little bit of like an Easter egg almost because like obviously you're dealing with your foreground and background stuff. And it's all they're all very crazy. When you look at the depth between, you're like, is that little baby gator? That's hilarious.
That's a baby gator.
Great cover. We're back to like triple A cover.
Yeah.
Like those Image covers where you're like, all right, I want that on my wall. Yeah. If I had like a full size poster of this, I'd be like set. Basically.
It's pretty neat. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like I like what they did. I like the cover. But if I'm gonna get a poster of this, I like the idea of Leo's face being seen. I kind of like that.
Okay.
But I don't. So in that regard, but as far as this, it's neat because it obscures it. But that's the thing, and the beautiful thing about this cover, like to your point, that the little gator is making you think turtles, gator, leatherhead. Okay, there you go. And then the light in Leo's face is it's obscuring it, so it's making you feel like there's things you can see and things you can't see, and then obviously you don't fully know what that creature is in the back. Is it leatherhead? We don't know. We're gonna find out. But And that's the beautiful thing about these covers is that they can be so polarizing.
Yeah, I like it. I like that his face is obscured. I think that it adds this little touch of realism to me.
Oh, that's
where I'm
true.
like, oh, that's cool. Yeah. That's really cool.
That's a good one.
But yeah. So your cover artist was Frank Fosco and Eric Larson, which is why the art obviously looks so similar to the art inside, because spoiler alert, Frank Fosco did that too.
Yeah.
The writer for this issue is Gary Carlson. Pencils, Frank Fosco. Inks, Mark Heike. Letters, Pat Brousseau. Editor is Eric Larson. And this was on Image Comics.
Mm-hmm.
So let me get my comic pulled that up real fast. So here we go. So they do a technique in this comic where they kind of like flash forward a little bit in time. Like they don't tell you everything right off the bat. And I know when I was first reading this, I felt like I had missed an issue, right? Because last time, as just a very quick, so basically, Raphael stabbed Splinter in the back, and in the dream world, in the astral plane, to bring him back to himself in real life. But we're left there with like, I stabbed Master Splinter.
Yeah.
So they intentionally tease this first page, which I think is very hilarious.
Oh, I loved it.
If you want to show it, I think it's worth it.
Okay, I was waiting for it.
With the three turtles, who, once again, look very different than when we first met them.
Yeah.
In Image #1, where they were just the turtles. Yeah. Like coming straight out. And this is obviously it is arguably canon, or arguably not canon now.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. This Image run. However, in situ, right? The rhetoric here is that absolutely it was.
Yeah.
So like the turtles you see in Image #1 are the same guys that just came from Mirage Volume 2. Right. It is. Okay. So you see them looking very much different with, in a graveyard, and Raph saying, I still can't believe it.
Yeah. That's so good.
That's is so supposed to screw with your head.
Yes.
I
love it.
Yeah. And then they just start, then of course you flip the page and they're like, oh man, someone's been burglarizing the cemetery, and that's what they just can't believe. Right. And you're like, okay, turtles.
Yeah.
All right, boys. They earlier in issue 12, I believe. Give me 1 second to double check that. I hate being wrong about that specific kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. In issue 12, we see someone kind of from behind the gravestones taking pictures of the air car they have.
Oh, that's right.
And them.
Yeah.
It's a quick thing. It's a couple panels. But obviously someone's been messing around their little graveyard hangout where they've been chilling. And it has a sewer access. So that's how they get down to the sewers. And it's a little place they've been doing their thing. Someone's been messing with it. And you kind of have a feeling like, oh, that could be connected to the guys taking photos, right? Like somebody is intruding on this area.
Yeah.
So they're kind of going around looking, and like they're just talking a lot of trash because they're all very different.
Yeah.
Like Leo's saying, oh, you should I'm gonna go toward the mausoleum alone because they think that they see movement or something.
Yeah.
And by the way, like, Raph, you're covered in like shiny chrome, so you can't be stealth.
Yeah.
He's like, well, actually it's steel, and I have a cape that covers it up and makes me like a shadow. And it is kind of funny. He's like, you guys can just call me the Shadow. And I love when Donnie comes in and he's like, Casey's kid has first dibs on that particular name, Raph.
Right.
Because her name is Shadow, which is a great point.
It was.
And Donnie's saying, yeah, well, my armor can shift like any color, including camouflage. So that makes me stealthy and all this shit. And while they're all arguing about that, Leo just goes inside the mausoleum and comes out with 2 dead ass rabbits.
Yep.
And it's like, I got the movement, boys. It's 2 rabbits. And I guess they had set their nest up near some of Donnie's like thermal detectors. Like if there were people walking around, they set them off apparently. So they're kind of doing their thing. And the next remarkable thing that happens is Raph's like, all right, cool. Well, hey fellas, I got to split because I got to go train the Foot Clan because that's still a thing.
Yeah.
And Leo really wants to go. Like, he's like, oh man, let me go. Oh man, I'm so bored, bro. Like, because and they update us a little bit. You might have to help me because it gets a little confusing here.
Okay.
Just make sure we're on the same page. You get an update in this conversation about kind of where everybody is.
Right.
So Splinter's stuff has been moved out of the sewer.
Yes.
They talk about that. Splinter's not in the sewer. They allude that he may still be a bat. Like you don't know. And that's the weird thing about like right now. I really want to focus on right now.
Okay.
Because as you're reading it, you're a little bit like, what is going on?
Right.
But how Raph isn't staying there because Raph's with the Foot Clan kind of day and night.
Yeah.
And Donnie and Mike are still there, right?
Yeah.
But Donnie doesn't talk a lot because he's Robodon, and maybe just didn't talk a lot to start with. And Mikey is like writing something, like he's like working on writing. He has like a deadline he has to hit.
Yeah.
And so they're still there and stuff.
So I think I think it's Leo still lives there. Raph's stuff might still be there, but he stays with the Foot.
He's not there.
He's not there, but his stuff might be there, but he's at the Foot. And I love this image that we got on screen right now, which is how short he hasn't hemmed the cape yet. So you could see
the cape's just like hanging on the ground.
It's so much bigger. Shredder's like outfit. Oh, I love this.
Yeah.
But and then Mikey's got his apartment that is with at the basement of April and Casey's place.
Yeah.
So that's where he stays writing, like you were saying. And but they're still trying to keep you guessing about what happened to Splinter. Like he's
they are.
Yeah, they're
definitely
keeping you.
They're teasing that out. And Leo's like, yeah, I want to go. I'm bored. It sucks. I want to go help train. I could do a lot. And Raph's like kind of in the process of leaving, and he's like closing this gate. And it's actually kind of cool how they do this, as he's like getting behind the gate, and he's like talking through the gate, and he's pulling the gate shut. And they basically have a huge kind of argument where Raph's like, no, you can't come because you are going to second guess me, and you're going to undermine my leadership with the Foot Clan. They don't need multiple bosses. They need one boss.
Right.
And Leo's like, well, I won't say anything. I'll just hang out. And he's like, no, you can't help yourself. Like, you're too much of a leader with us, and you're going to screw me up. And I'm not a big fan, and I'm sorry about it. And he slams the door shut, and I do like it because he leaves, and honestly, like Leo starts talking to Don, and Leo kind of admits, like, yeah, Raph's right. Let's see. Raph's right. There can't be two leaders, and I'm definitely not a follower. So it's weird how like they do a really good job of balancing like a pretty brotherly fight, because that's what it feels like. Yeah. Like they raise their voices, and Raph's saying some like true shit about like you can't leave it alone.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to be like, you're not going to let me lead. And I'm out. And Leo kind of admits later, like, yeah, no, he's right.
Yeah, and what's funny is that we were gonna do this issue last week, this episode, and that was fresh off of watching the Rise movie, where these two had a similar, some sort of vibe going at the, and that really triggered me with this.
And
I loved that because it just shows you that they can fight, but they're still they're still brothers, and so they admit, but they wouldn't admit to each other necessarily. But that's how I guess family is. So
it seems to me like they are maturing here, and that I do like that.
Yeah.
How the way that Leo and Raph used to fight before. I mean, it devolved to violence, or like Raph would run away, or like it would get like really emo and broody.
Yeah.
And now it seems like they just feel a little older, and they're just like, no,
like know that like they're going to be fine.
Fight. Yes, they're going to be fine. They fight, and then Raph kind of, once again, not fight, but just raising voices and making points. Yeah. And then Raph leaves, and Leo's like, yeah, sure, whatever. He'll be back.
Mm-hmm.
I love that, actually. Because
totally.
I love a good Leo Raph struggle, right, for power. That's a hallmark of a lot of really good TMT storytelling. This is the continuity from Image 1, or from Mirage 1.
Yeah.
So this is long in the tooth. So I actually really like the choice of them just to be like, whatever, man.
Mm-hmm.
I love that because it signals growth.
I like how Leo says "Hasta la vista, Shredder." It's like,
he does.
He's calling him he's calling him the Shredder, and that's so. Yeah, I don't know. That's just really neat to me. I really enjoyed that.
And and like Donnie calls him Der Fuhrer. You know what I mean? Like, because he's like so in charge of this Foot Clan and stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's cool though. Like because they do kind of talk it out. And Donnie's trying to get takers to ride out to Pittsburgh, because he needs to go pick up some supplies and other stuff that he's very vague about. And no takers there. Raph's got to go to the Foot Clan, and Leo's just gonna kind of chill out because he's like wants to get some exercise or something. He just doesn't really want to be in the car.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of split ways. That's when Donnie leaves and we reveal our creeps taking photos. You know what I'm saying? Two men in black suits and one just kind of dumpy looking duder, like
penguin looking dude,
little penguin looking bro.
Yeah.
Named, what's his name? God, his name is so forgettable. It's God, I read it.
Mr. Porter.
Mr. Porter. Yeah, he's a portly fellow.
He is.
And yeah, he's like, oh, see, I was right. You think I faked these photos? And they're like, well, there is something to seeing it in person. So you sold us, asshole. And he's like, oh, cool. And you see the other guy. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say you were talking about that, how they're like they're kind of, it's like they didn't believe him, but I'm like, this takes place in the Savage Dragon universe, like where these superhuman people are on television. There's a space station that does nothing but look for their own agenda out there with some dude that's just banging his television lady, and like and there's these people in business suits that they look like they're the Men in Black essentially, and it's like they're kind of like throwing aspersions on this dude and his well, we got to see with our own binoculars. And
sure. I mean, I think that like a little part of it too is like, I think maybe even in this universe, if you are some kind of like super powered or alien or some kind of thing, you're known to the people. Like you run around out here.
Okay.
I think maybe part of their thing is like, okay, so you found 3 alien little green men that are not known to us, whatever organization we're from, right? Which is apparently a pretty clandestine organization. Like, do you know what I mean? It's almost like me running up to you and going like, bro, I found these 3 different species of butterfly, never been seen before.
Yeah.
And you're like a xenobiologist and or a biologist and you're like,
it's true.
I don't believe you.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you may have found 3 completely unknown species of butterflies all in your backyard. I highly doubt it. I'm going to need to see that. Because while I'm sure there are species of butterfly that I've never seen,
right?
The fact that you just stumbled on them, seeing's believing, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it might be like from there.
That's true. And then this is also,
the turtles haven't made a big splash yet.
That's true. And it's also early days of the internet and widespread knowledge of this stuff. And if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, the Turtles, when they first ran into Johnny Lee Rayburn, Death Watch, he they had, what's her name, the news reporter that went off with Vanguard.
Wells.
Roxanne, that's it.
Roxanne Wells.
I think they thanked her for not mentioning them, and then didn't Savage Dragon give them shit for it, being like, nobody cares.
Because in.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no. So like, it feels like that. The Turtles are really hypersensitive about it, but nobody else is in this other part of the world. But where they're at, they kind of are. So I guess I can see a little bit of it, but it did strike me a little weird reading it at first. But I get your point.
It's fine. It's a little weird, and so other suit guy who's not looking totally right now. Basically says, we've got verification. They appeared out of nowhere. Possible teleportation device. Send in all backup units. Yeah. So cut back to your boy Leo, like having a very good very what is it, like no good, very bad, rotten day or whatever. That's basically what it is. He's like walking through the sewer, like, oh man, could things possibly go wrong again? Yeah. And sure enough, you see a pop draw 2 cards. You know what I'm saying? Dang. He gets hit in the shell area with some kind of shot. He's like, I've been hit.
I'm hit.
I'm hit. And you see a bunch of.
Can we make a promise that if we ever get shot, that like we're gonna do this exact thing, that we're just gonna go, ow, I'm hit.
Ouch, I'm hit.
Yeah, we got to do that.
Guarantee you. That's what we'll do. I won't just cry like a baby and be very scared.
No.
I will definitely be like,
my first thought is like, I got to do this turtle soup thing. Yeah.
And then I can grovel.
Right.
So you see that, there's a bunch of these hunter-looking fellows that he kind of, Leo kind of says like, are very like Elmer Fudd looking. They got like shotguns and they're running through there and they're talking about, I got him, and all this stuff like that. And he winds up kind of evading them because he sees there's a ton of them in the sewer. Like he wanted to go like kind of loop around, get stealthy, and then kill those 2 dudes basically.
Yeah.
But now there's more, and he's like, I'm outnumbered. I'm gonna try to get out of here. He goes up little manhole. He's like, ooh, peeky poo. And there's dudes out there.
Yeah.
And they're like, something's in the manhole. He's like, oh shit. He like dives back in there because he can't get away from that. And around like the sewer, like outside, I guess on top side, they find the 2 rabbits.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the hunters is like, oh, all this about a couple damn rabbits and all this stuff like that. So you feel like maybe they're a little off the trail. So Leo is, Leo's basically getting away, and you see that he's, running rooftop to rooftop, and he finds a fire escape, and he's like, oh, he comes down, he's like, I'm bleeding like a stuck pig. Hands are sticky, but the ladder is slippery, and he like slips down this ladder, and like lands on one of like the the landings of the fire escape,
right,
and outside. Looking in now he's crashed with a katang. You know what I'm saying? Katang! Yeah. Inside is your boy Casey looking a lot like our friend Domestic Danny.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? That feels like that's just a slice of life in New York. You know what I'm saying? You catch Danny shaving. He does that about once a year. And you catch him out there, and he goes, but of course it's Casey. He goes, what the? Somebody sneaking around the fire escape again. My Vaseline trap worked.
I love that.
And it turns out he slicked up that old fire escape. Good thing him or no one else is ever going to need to use that.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That'd have been bad
in an actual fire emergency.
Yeah.
I'm sure that goes against insurance regulations and safety. And the fire marshal sure love to see that trick, the old Vaseline trick. And he's getting ready to go, and literally he's like carrying a razor that he's shaving.
Yeah.
He carries the razor toward there. And he's like, I told you, you hairballs, that if I ever caught you around here again, I gut you and mount you over my fireplace.
Right.
And you're like,
that's intense.
Were you going to use that straight blade on these children?
Yeah.
These teenagers? But no, it's just Leo. And Leo's like, oh my God, dude, like stop that shit. Like, you see something like, you don't even have a fireplace, because he says, I'm gonna hang you over my fireplace.
Yeah.
And of course, Casey, oh sorry, Leo. Oh my God, you've been shot. What's happening? And he's basically filling them in now on what's going on. And this is where we learn from Casey. There's actually been rumors that 2 kids were killed and eaten by something in the sewer.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about giant alligators again. And Leo's like, there aren't any giant gators in the sewers. He goes, we wiped them all out when we were kids. Yeah. And I liked that reference.
I do too.
For 2 reasons. Because it sounds to me like it's like a little double entendre, a little situation, like innuendo. Because if you think about it, it's like they dealt with Leatherhead when they were kids.
Yeah.
And I think they also literally went around and took out all the gigantic gators. If there were any gators in the New York sewer, they took them out when they were younger.
Right.
Because there is dead ass canon of them like fishing dead bodies out of the sewer, being like, oh look, another dead one.
Yep.
Like
Big bang.
So that happened. And this is where I hand it over to you during this little Tinder bandaging moment with Casey and Leo here.
Yeah, so they're, Casey's continuing to talk about the children that were, attacked by this gator, and he says that one of them got away. The third kid got away, and the family has offered a $10,000 reward for the gator's carcass. So this makes sense to Leo, because Leo's like, oh, that makes sense why everyone's out with a gun, like trying to get this money, which can't blame him. It's kind of it was hard to live in New York back then. It's hard to live there now, I'm assuming. So if a big gator was out there and you can get some money and a big gator, I mean, why not? So at this point, Shadow comes in and wanting a drink of water and sees Uncle Leo, and so they're talking, and he says that he's hurt, or she realizes that he's hurt, and she asks him, she goes, like, are you all right? Like, did Daddy kiss it?
Yeah.
And because Leo says that your daddy's bandaging me up and making it feel better. And like, that's just interesting that I would have loved to have seen Casey kiss Leo's gunshot boo-boos, but we don't get that. Not in this issue.
No, not to us. You know what I'm saying?
Not to us.
Along those private moments.
But But they decide to head down to Mikey's place and all that. And then Leo mentioned, night night, don't let the bed bugs bite. And Shadow's like, what? Bed bugs? Yeah, that's one of the things that I'm scared of as someone who doesn't have children, that but I have nieces and nephews, that I'm afraid that if I say something to them that it's gonna like stick with them, and then I'm afraid, so I don't do it, but I'm also afraid, so I do it. It depends on what kind of mood I'm in, where I'm like,
okay,
I'm afraid you're going to repeat this, but I kind of want you to. So yeah, this kind of rang true with me a little bit. It's like, oh, dang, because it seems like she's like really stuck on the bed bugs thing. So now she's not going to sleep. And I'm like, man, that sucks. But whatever. So anyway, Leo heads down to Mikey's apartment, where he's just tapping away on the keyboard and keyboard on a typewriter, which is basically what they had back then. It's like a computer without a screen, and it presses ink into the paper, like it imprints it, for those who don't remember typewriters.
God.
And and you might be wondering, how does Michelangelo do that with having 3 fingers instead of
that's the real question to ask.
Right.
That's
2 fingers and a thumb.
Apparently very carefully.
Yeah. So
it's like that joke from Deuce Bigalow where it's like, I wish they made phones for full-figured women. Like the old thing where like do you remember that?
No.
It's like, it's in that movie Deuce Bigalow where like, he dates all like, okay. So the whole thing is like, he's basically a male gigolo. He's like a gigolo,
like the title,
and that's Deuce Bigalow, male gigolo, yeah. And he gets hired to go on these dates with these women or whatever, and they're all like very weird, like physically freakish usually. Like one's like really tall, one has Tourette's, and one of them is just very. One of them is just like this very fat lady.
Yeah,
and just when he first walks in the room, she says a number of things that that live rent free in my head, to this day. I remember at one point he's just standing there and she's like on the phone, I think. Mm-hmm. And she's like, looks at him and she goes, "You ever park your bike in an airplane hangar?"
Oh my
goodness. Like, what? She goes, "You ever thrown a toothpick into a volcano?" And he's like, and then like the she's like trying to order, she's like, "I'm over here trying to order a pizza or something." And like, for some reason, the way they make her finger is so big that there's like the 9 keys and she like keeps mishitting the keys. Yeah. She goes, "I wish they made phones for full-figured women." and then she burps. Yeah. And she goes, "Sorry, I had Jello an hour ago." and then he goes like, "Oh my God." Like I remember that whole sequence, like word for word. So whenever like something like doesn't work like with keys, I always think like, I wish they made keyboards for full-figured turtles. Because imagine like how big that finger is, and trying to like, especially with typewriters. I mean, that's permanent, man.
At the very least,
that's permanent.
At the very least, if you do like the live long and prosper, hand gesture, that's essentially what the turtles' hands look like, more or less. Uh-huh. And so trying to type like that,
maybe a little smaller than maybe a little smaller than like my hand.
Yeah,
because I'm a pretty big guy and they are like 5 foot. Yeah. So
that's true.
Take a knuckle off. I guess take a knuckle off this, I guess. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But still, they're still shown as very wide fingers.
Yeah.
And I do not know how he types on a keyboard. You have a great point.
Yeah. And
on a typewriter. Yeah. Like bind it up.
To your point, or bringing up that what this reminds you of, I always think of the Simpsons episode. I could be mistaken on the episode, but I think it's the one where Homer tries to get disability for being too large. And so he tries to make a phone call, and they say, "We're sorry, the fingers you have chosen to dial are too fat. Please stop."
Yeah.
That killed me.
That's pretty funny.
But Michelangelo has managed to overcome all fat finger prejudices on this keyboard, and
absolutely
and if you don't remember, he's a published author at this point. Like, would you call somebody an author if they just got poems printed? Like, I don't mean to be disparaging towards that. I just don't know. Is that still like a or would they be a writer? Absolutely. Is there a difference between the two?
I think writer has become more into favor because it kind of describes everything you're doing.
Okay, right.
But author, like if you've authored a book, I think you're an. To me, I have to tag Alicia, my wife, in on this because she would have opinions. To me, I think author means you finished something.
Mm. Oh, okay.
Like you could be a writer and just write a lot of stuff.
Right.
But an author feels like you I don't know why. It's like a fancier word for like bigger books or something. I have no idea.
Yeah, it feels like it has like a kind of like a character creation kind of element to it. There's like upper level of it, but I could just be putting that on there just on my own bias. But nevertheless, it looks like you're investigating. Are you seeing if there's any difference?
It just says a writer of a book, article, or report.
Oh, okay. So it's
okay. So I guess authoring wouldn't necessarily say be maybe poetry as much.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like you're a poet.
Right.
It has its own word
designation.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But nevertheless, it seems like Michelangelo is trying to get that EGOT, but ninja.
Yeah, because the definition for a writer is a person who has written a particular text. Okay. So that is very open.
Okay, so he's more or less a writer at this point.
Yeah, because you wouldn't say like if somebody wrote you a note, you might say the note was written by someone.
Right.
You wouldn't say that he was the author of the note.
The author of the note.
Yeah.
That's too good. Let me see your work. Oh, well, here's a bunch of notes that I wrote. It's just a bunch of stickies.
Yeah, it's like Note by Ryan Guy, author. And it's like, hey, it's like those notes back in school, like, what's up or down?
Right.
Like all this dumb shit. It's like, what? It's like bubble handwriting. And it's like,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Isn't class the worst?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, accomplished author, Ryan Guy.
Well, Michelangelo seems to be writing a little bit more than that in his youth, unlike us.
No,
and he's getting paid for this.
He's a professional writer over here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And so he's tapping away on this keyboard, and Leo's coming in, just explaining the whole situation, like what's going on. And, they're giving Michelangelo a lot of grief for him not really wanting to do a lot of the ninja stuff. Like he's not. Yeah, that's not where his head's at right now, and I really like that because this is like drenched in this like the Turtles, the band's breaking up essentially. It feels like that, and I really like that because you all in all these situations you generally have one person that wants to stay the course, one person wants to do it a little differently, and then two other people that are doing their own things, and that's where our four titular characters are at this moment, and so. Like, Leo just thinks that this is all a waste of time, which I find interesting because Leo never struck me as someone that would maybe find that as a waste of time. I could see Raphael thinking that as a waste of time. I could also probably see Donatello finding it a waste of time, but Leo always seemed like he might resonate a little bit with it in the sense that he's more like as in like when you're with writing as a art or as like a practice, much like his ninjutsu and all that.
If Splinter got behind it, if Splinter was like, the art of the pin is the same as the sword, and like laid that in, he'd be like, oh shit, warrior poet. All right.
Oh,
like he'd be down if Splinter backed it.
Now,
but if Splinter's like mum on the subject, like mum's the word, I can see Leo being like, you are an asset to our team and you are not on the team.
Right.
Like we are, when we go out, we're four and everyone has roles. And I have plans for everybody.
That's a good point.
If you're not there, you're like not going to wheel off my car, bro.
Right.
Like, so are you in or out? Because like if this thing's a tricycle, I need to know that. Because I'm going to ride it like a tricycle. Yeah. But don't get me like in a four-wheeler and then pop a wheel off on me.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? I can see him being like that.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. I also wonder if he's just a little bit upset at the penis mightier, you know what I'm saying? Than the sword, because he's got the swords and he's upset that the pin is mightier. Nothing.
Well, you said something else.
Oh, maybe I did. I don't know. But I do know that Michelangelo is writing a novel now, so he's on his way to becoming an author. So, like I said a minute ago, he's trying to get that EGOT, but you got to change the letters around. But he's
trying to get that. He's trying to get that $3,000 advance, bro.
That's what he's really trying to get.
He's trying to get that advance.
But like right
now,
what
I mean?
Right now he's ninja, he's turtle, he's mutant, he's teenage, and he's author, writer, and chucker. There you go. So he's got a lot under his belt and on his belt. So they're just like going back and forth, like really getting into one another. And all of a sudden you hear, let me see if I can get it on the screen, from around the corner, we get a stop fighting out there.
Uh-oh. Old Dad's home.
Old Dad's home. We turn the page. And we're back to Rad Rat Dad back in full effect.
Rad Rat Dad looking so comfy, clunk in his lap.
Fresh and
clean.
It
is Professor X going on. You know what I'm saying? Your boy Charles with that
Charles.
cover over the legs, bro. Your boy Charles. It is on.
Yeah, this is awesome. I don't remember the last time we saw Clunk, but that's Clunk right there.
Not too long ago. Not too long ago. A couple issues ago. Mikey came home at one point and goes, "Oh, Clunk, I'm so sorry I left you alone."
That's right. I forgot about that. But yeah, I mean, granted, he's drawn here looking like a small version of a very big cat, but still, Splinter's
he's got
essentially
a little Cheshire cat thing. It looks like he's about to start smiling at you. In a really creepy way.
He does.
I'm not a fan of that.
He totally does. But Clunk, I love Clunk. I'm so glad Clunk's here. And if you don't know, Clunk came from the Michelangelo micro series way back in the day, which is like early TMNT. So I'm always a fan of that. But this is a really good Splinter. This looks really cool. I like this look for Splinter.
Yeah.
He's in the rocking chair, just rocking out. And he says that so Leo is like, "Sorry, master, didn't mean to disturb you." And Splinter, gives us a little bit of information saying the cure was perhaps as painful as what ailed me, but I'm just resting my eyes, Leo. You didn't wake me up. It's fine. And actually, sleep is very rare indeed. So that kind of sucks. So it lets you know that Splinter's still going through some stuff. He's not all healed, but like he's still reeling from it. And he talks about how his body might be on a nocturnal schedule because, he was a bad bat dad, but now he's back to being rad rat dad. So that's really cool. So, and they're all just excited. They're just echoing the fact that they're happy that he's back and whatnot. But they're going through it. He's talking about just what's going on. Leo's really upset that none of the other guys are going to help him and everyone's doing their own thing and he's trying to find his place and whatnot. And he's talking about what the situation is where there's the guy, he got shot, the dude's looking for the gators, and he's like, they shot me by mistake. And Splinter's like, they're after the reward money? Yeah, Leo says, but they're wasting their time because, there aren't any big gators living in the sewers. And old Rat Dad says,
I remember this one.
I seem to recall.
He's
one.
like, let me tell you a story.
Oh, dang! He's like,
that bring anything back to you?
Wasn't that Bookworm?
Let me tell you a story.
No. That was Tails. That's how Tails started.
Yeah, so every Tails started with a turtle sitting and being like, let me tell you a story.
What did Bookworm
say? Let me tell you a story.
Do you remember Bookworm from Archie? Didn't he have a saying too that was something like that? I can't remember that. I thought he had a saying.
Bookworm didn't.
Or did he?
One thing I remember about Bookworm is we made a joke that it was like hours or years or minutes.
Yeah. And he looks at
because he was like
the camera or the reader. Yeah, in the book. That's what that was. Okay, I was getting that crossed up.
Years or minutes, and we're like, yeah, this comic's boring. It feels like it's taking years and minutes.
It did.
You know what I mean?
It did. But yeah, that it goes right back to Adventures. That's all, or not Adventures. Tales. Like, let me tell you a story. Yeah. And so, but it's weird that Leo would forget this. Like, how do you forget Leatherhead? He's one of the best things in your story. Like one of the coolest characters. I don't know. I was a little thrown off by that.
One reason that they may have forgotten is Raphael dealt with him the most. Like Raphael was the one that found him in this sewer when he was like out on one of his emo runs after him and Leo got into a fight.
Yeah.
He dealt with him and then had to kind of inform the rest of the turtles about him, to my memory.
Okay.
Raph probably has way more of a memory of Leatherhead than Leo does.
That makes a little bit more sense. Yeah, I can see that. But yeah. Leo just seems like he's not. His head's clouded. Like something seems like he's not.
Yeah,
fully
I mean,
there.
He was shot today.
That's true. He was shot. I've never been shot, or else you would have heard me say, I'm hit. But you haven't heard me say that.
I'm hit. I haven't heard that. I've never heard you say that.
No,
so I know you're good.
Yeah, exactly. And So anyway, so they're like, Michelangelo echoes Splinter's sentiment that Leatherhead. Did you forget about him? Apparently. So Leo's like, oh shit. Well, yeah, he needs to go get warned. Let's go warn him. But Mikey's like, nah, my writing. Like I got my writing. I gotta do this. And Leo's still not having it. But at this point, it's pizza time. April O'Neil, looking pretty good, comes in with her man Casey holding the 6-pack and just kissing on the neck. And he's got them long Casey Jones fingers that he's known for. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no, he
goodness
can wrap most of her actual torso in those long fingers.
Yeah,
I'm glad that's canon correct.
Absolutely. And so they come into the apartment with the pizza, and Yeah, Leo's just, and again, right here, I don't, you can't really see it on the screen. Let me see if I can show you a little bit. Let me zoom out a little bit, and oh goodness, that was way too much.
Oh my god.
Yeah, my controls for this thing are not very tuned very well. But anyway, I can't really get there. But you can see the height difference down in the bottom left corner that he is up to probably Casey's chest. Leo is. So, and about shoulder height on April, which longtime Turtletarians know we love that. Like that's a big thing for us. So,
we love that scale.
So yeah, but Leo's saying he can't stay. He's got to go. He's got some work to do and wants the Case Meister to join him. But Casey took on the midnight shift at the store as he's getting some pizza. But he's like, "Oh, I'll go with you in the morning." And Leo's just like, "Nah, it's probably gonna be too late in the morning." So he and like Casey, because he says Leatherhead might be dead in the morning, and Casey's like, "Who's Leatherhead?" Like he doesn't even know. That's one thing. To your point, though, about Raphael, I would have thought Raphael would have told Casey, but then again, I don't know what they talk about. But nevertheless, that's the thing, too. Like, when you see so much fantastical stuff, I wonder if it ceases to be fantastical to the point where you don't even talk about it over dinner or whatnot. But nevertheless, the Casey, April, Mikey, and Splinter are all eating pizza. And
I want to throw this in really fast.
Okay.
I believe the reason that they're doing a lot about, we forgot about Leatherhead. When I read it now again, that feels almost like a little bit of commentary on the fact that Leatherhead was a badass character that was literally introduced in an issue of Tales.
Mm-hmm.
Went on to be in the animated series.
Oh, yeah.
But wasn't really messed with by Mirage at all.
Yeah.
He was in Archie and stuff, but like he like got forgotten about. The more I read this, the more this feels almost like the guys at Image being like, yeah, like they don't remember this guy. Because literally he came out forever ago.
Yeah. That's
you know
true.
What I'm trying to say?
That's true. Because he did.
Because like
they did touch. I get Tails and Mirage mixed up, obviously, because they're like, they went hand in hand. But
Tails is just extra Mirage,
right? I mean, precisely.
In that era, especially, is gold.
Right. Oh, absolutely. But and what was
really fast?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just want to tell you, Leatherhead premiered his first issue. It was Tales Volume 1, Number 6 from 1988.
Oh,
it has been 10 years since Mirage has used him. So a decade. So I think that the more I read this, the more the whole who's Leatherhead, that sounds more like like he's a badass character that literally has not been brought up in canon Mirage for like ever.
See, that's a good point because he's
literally forever.
He's been in, at this point, to my recollection, because this is 98, he's been in every video game iteration that they've done.
Yep.
He was in the Mutanimals.
That's thanks to the 87 animated series. He was in Archie. He was in Mutanimal.
So like he's in the zeitgeist, but like not in the books. Yeah, that's a very good point. I had not really considered that.
Yeah.
What was the other alligator that started with an O? That was in.
Give me 1 second. Usub Gerstock.
Thank you. Yes,
he's from the role playing game.
He's
like game. The spiritual predecessor to Leatherhead.
Yeah,
for sure.
And so I always like to throw that out there because that's some trivia for your fans. But but like we were saying, Casey, April, Mikey, and Splinter are chowing down, and they're talking about like Leo says he's really bent, which is totally like that's a totally 90s phrase.
Well, Mikey says that.
Who did I say? Leo? Yeah, sorry. Mikey said that about Leo.
Talking about Leo, yeah.
Yes. And Splinter says, no, you each have your own agendas. It's all right. Leonardo likes to lead. Donatello does machines. It's kind of a thing. And it's good for him sometimes to be. This might be a little offensive. Well, actually, I don't know. He says the Indian and not the chief, and that I don't think Splinter meant that to be offensive, but I think he just meant to say that like that instead of being the leader, you were just a part of the family. And that but the sentiment here I like that it's like Leo's not getting to do what he wants to do, but it's going to show him something different, and I appreciate that, and that's this whole thing is about. And then you got Leo walking through the going into the sewers from Mikey's basement, and he says morons, jerks, blah, I'm just, I'll go get Raph and the foot and we'll, oh man. And then all of a sudden he's like, you know what, whatever, screw them. I'm going to do this myself. Then he sees that one of the hunters is dead right outside of Mikey's door. And that's the last thing you want to see out. Dead as a doornail. Burn up like a dango piece of toast. You do not want to see this outside your door.
Turkey's cooked.
Turkey is totally cooked. And if you walk outside and you see that, you go back in. You don't need to deal with that. But
nope,
Leonardo,
turn right around. Like, I don't need to go there.
Yeah, no. Go eat some pizza. Go write something. I don't care. Do something else. But Leonardo is not listening to nobody else, and he's just going straight like an arrow. You know what I mean? So he keeps walking down the sewers. And he's like, what is this, a coincidence, a warning? Oh, another corpse up the way. This one's been clawed up and chewed on. If you ever see anyone that's been chewed on, that's just, no. Just again.
Get out of there.
Get out of there. Turn around. So he keeps going. And another one. And another one. So all these hunters are all just Lisa Barangi, just all dead up, whatever. Yep. So then, but he says no sign of scuffling near the corpses and not enough blood. They didn't die here. They were placed here, Ryan. Placed here by somebody deliberately. They left a trail, and then your boy Leonardo. He's got. I don't know if he's. No, he doesn't have a flashlight yet. But basically, they have some light in the sewer, and it shows a sign that says "I waiting turtles." And basically, that's he saw the sign like the Ace of Base song. Ace of Base. Yeah. And all that he wanted was another. I was trying to make another baby joke, but no, that didn't.
All that he wants is another baby.
Yeah, but no, he's gonna get.
All
something,
he wants
though.
is another baby. But he's gone. He's gone tomorrow.
He's gone. Tomorrow.
So Leo could go away.
He could,
and he'd be gone tomorrow.
Right.
These are two different songs we're talking about.
Absolutely, but Leonardo decides to continue on and follow suit and run. Into he knows where the trail leads down to our first home here in the sewers. He lives there now. Luckily, I know the back entrance, which we all do, and that's a fun thing to know.
Yeah, the old back passage.
Yeah, and so but yeah, and then they give us a little bit of backstory on Leatherhead, which is great because, like you said, he hadn't been around in a minute. So Leatherhead, he was a victim of the mutagen, just like us. A baby alligator flushed away probably after he bit some kid. He lived with the aliens, the Utroms, who, the Krang essentially. Yep. And they were amused by him. They educated him, but they left him behind and they went when they, returned to their own dimension. So and this image here shows Leatherhead just towering over the turtles, and that's just so menacing, and it's so great. So Leo continues to say that they helped him repair a transmat teleportation device so he could rejoin them, but that failed. He blamed us and swore to get revenge. And that's what from what does the editor say? Tales of the TMNT number 6 and TMNT number 1 volume 45. So there's just some Leatherhead reading material. But
go back and get a copy of Tales number 6 from 1988.
Yeah. Have fun with that.
I love that editor's note.
Oh yeah,
that's ridiculous. Oh yeah, that's so funny. Oh yeah, go back and get that.
Yeah, just do that. Just ask your parent to help you hook it up. So Leo's like turning the corner and he's like, all right, well maybe this is like him getting back at us. Like maybe this is like he finally he's done and he's ready to attack us and stuff. So Leo then turns the corner and sees somebody just in the shadow. And he's like, oh, there he is, the urban myth himself, a giant alligator in New York sewers. And he says he's even bigger than he remembers, which, we get that all the time here at Turtle Soup. And he launches in with a whack. And, he's trying to hit hard and fast because Leatherhead's a good fighter. And then, okay, Leatherhead, you decide, do we talk or fight? But the answer is none of the above because your boy Leatherhead's all tied up. Just all wrapped up like a Christmas present, Ryan. And he's trying to mumble something, but Leo realizes too late that the real enemy is behind him. And this is where we get, oh my goodness, a callback way back to the beginning of Image, the Image run. And it is none other than Komodo, Lord Komodo, the Dragon Lord, whatever you want to call him. And he is here in full effect. full on Komodo dragon, half man, half Komodo dragon. And he says, "Fool, you fell for my trap." Not his Vaseline trap. But not his Vaseline trap, though. You
True,
didn't fall
it's
for
not a
that
Vaseline trap. Nope.
He says, "I discovered your large friend here while searching for you turtles in these sewers. How unfortunate your brothers aren't here to die with you. I'm sure they will come looking for what's left of you. Now kill him, my brothers." So now, if you don't remember, the Dragon Lord Komodo was this dude that had this like big ass house, and he's the one that sent the cyborgs to the turtles in the very first issue to get Splinter and the turtles and whatnot. And so then they brought him there. Turns out
to get Splinter and one turtle. He wanted to analyze both of them.
Yeah, and
to cure his little ED problem he had.
Yes, and there was a side effect. The ED problem. There was a side effect of this mutation thing that he's got. It's not a mutation, but it is for all just intents and purposes. But apparently,
it's a bloodline thing, right? It's a bloodline thing in that Komodo family. They get transformed into these huge like Gila monsters.
Yeah,
and the problem is that he has some defect with his, where when he transforms into the Gila monster thing, like he's dumb as hell. Like he's an actual like Komodo dragon. Like,
right.
I mean, I'm sure Komodo dragons aren't like super dumb, but they're reptiles. Like he's as smart as one of them.
Right. But like,
and
wasn't that like all of his brothers were too? That whenever they transformed into that's how it was too.
I think it happened to his generation. They're supposed to transform into that, but still retain their mind. Now they just have this superhuman anthropomorphic Gila monster thing going on.
Right.
But like when they transform, it's like he's huge, but he's a dumb reptile, basically. And he's trying to extort the DNA and everything of all these different mutants.
Right.
To figure out like, what can he do to help himself? He's the one that turned, old Splinter into old bad bat dad. I mean, it's a whole 9 yards.
It is. Now, I don't remember him being able to talk and speak like as eloquently as he is here.
Absolutely not. So
something happened. And we haven't seen him in a minute since his house exploded, if I recall correctly. This is where Leo's like, "Oh, I'm screwed. If only Mike had come with me," which is very telling of Mike's abilities in the comics. But
or just the last person to blame before you die.
That's true too. That is another side of that. But this is awesome, and I love his look because I mean, granted, it is a lizard man essentially, but it does remind me of the Snake Men from Masters of the Universe a little bit, and because that design, it's hard to. There's only so much you can do with a Snake Man design.
There's something about the way his muscles are built.
Yeah.
It's just the chest area and the arms that give me a little bit of Bloodsucker. Just a little bit.
Oh, yeah. There's a touch of Bloodsucker in there. Yeah.
Just a little bit. Like I want to see him in a sheriff's outfit.
Put a hat on him and then we'll talk. Like that could be interesting. What if all the turtle villains decided to start their own, like they go to, like, what if that's how Image ends, is that they go to Johnny Lee Rayburn's neighborhood where he killed all those people and put them in the diner, and they become all of these villains. So like, every single one of them, Baxter and good old Leatherhead and Komodo and everybody, and they all are the sheriffs of this town. So like they're just dressed up in this, and they're keeping the law, but they're granted everyone's dead, but still, I don't know, something about like having a story where all these bad guys are law-abiding, the leaders.
I think it's really funny if like Bebop and Rocksteady made their first appearance in Mirage, going back to that town and trying to run a diner out of the place that Johnny Lee Rayburn put all the bodies.
Yeah.
Because they're like, hey, this place is full of business. And they think like they're going to keep making money, but like the place goes bankrupt because they all rot there.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
It's like, we're not getting, we got a lot of repeat customers, but no new ones. And they're all like super pissed.
I love that. But that's where this issue ends, and that's where we're gonna wrap this issue up.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed this issue. I thought it was it was interesting. Take on Leo mostly. It was more focused on him because this is mostly his journey, because everyone else has kind of found their place and he's still trying to find his, and I love that. And it feels like good old TMNT comics, like what we were used to of Mirage. We're back in the saddle.
It was definitely I liked it. It was definitely like a cool like setup issue. It was like kind of a take a breath issue as well, where you just
Okay,
got a
yeah,
lot
yeah,
of
yeah.
interpersonal stuff, and they were kind of setting up new character storylines. So you've got like you've got a new kind of paradigm of Leo feeling like the turtles are kind of not as united as they need to be. You've got Raphael and the Foot Clan is going to be a real thing, like right, like even though we did
Oh
a
yeah,
small
it's not
time
going
jump
away.
right there,
Yeah,
did a mini time jump there,
yeah.
maybe only a week or two. That's not over. That's definitely Raph's thing.
Mm,
Donnie's kind of Robo Don, and we still have yet to see some stuff out of him and Mikey's writing. So
yeah.
they set that storyline up. You got to see his Splinter's okay, even though they tease that he might not be. You get to see old Rad Rat Dad's, right in that chair, old, scoliosis before sitting in a chair.
Oh my goodness.
He's doing good.
Yeah.
I mean, the main reason he probably can't get up is because he has a cat in his lap, and you know how you just can't
Oh,
get up.
oh,
You know what I mean? Like that.
That is an excellent
Like
point.
they need to. Like they might need to get Clunk out of his lap. I mean, because he
Yeah.
might have some atrophy. He might wind up like old Charles. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like if he stays like that.
That's true.
And then setting up Return of Leatherhead. That's what this issue was.
Yeah.
But they put enough interpersonal stuff and enough like good stuff in there that it felt like worth your time and worth your read for sure.
Oh yeah, and I love how emasculated Leatherhead is bound up. That it's like, oh, you thought Leatherhead was bad because he was. Like he was something to deal with, and if they could do that, it's restatting like your impression of like what the players are on the board. So it's like, oh, someone else has entered a new challenger essentially, and that's really neat. And I enjoy that so much, and I loved the pacing of this issue. The pacing was just great, and the dialogue was good. The jokes were funny. Like that's the one thing again about this book. The jokes, like the comedy in this, it's subtle, but it's still really good and just like enough. It's like it's part of a nutritious balanced breakfast is what it feels like. And I'm here for it. I enjoyed this issue, and I can't wait to get to number 18. Mostly because I think that if I recall correctly, number 18 was the first physical issue that I remember buying from a comic shop.
Oh, cool.
And it was in the early 2000s when I was when I had a car and I could go to the comic shop. And I remember we had a local comic shop that was fantastic. It was called the Fantasy Factory. And I've talked about it on the show before that my mom, she worked at the bank, so she could sometimes see like what was going through my account. So it would show up on their Fantasy Factory, $1 million bucks. And it's like, what is he doing? At the, as an 18-year-old or whatever I'm doing, and it's like, where's the Fantasy Factory? And it's like it's a comic shop. It's like, oh, okay, because that could go another way. But
right back with the big bad toy store again. You know
precisely,
what I mean?
same thing.
You just can't get out of it.
I can't get away from it. And but this place was really neat. I don't know if you ever ended up going there with me at all, but it was
I don't think I ever did.
very dark. Just like I don't even think they turned the lights on. They just let the sunshine come through. And
nice.
The owner was like really quiet and just very nice and all this stuff. And they had everything nerd stuff that you'd want, like just a massive store. And they had the bins down at the bottom you dig through, and I was digging through and I found I think it's number 18.
It was like quarter comics or whatever, 50-cent, $1. No, those are great.
Yeah, and I found number 18. I'm like, oh snap, this is like, and at the time it was probably the oldest Turtles issue that I had seen physically. And so I remember buying that there. And then this is also the store that I bought my NECA, the first NECA Turtles figures that they put out. Nice. That were based on the Mirage figures. And so, I had a lot of memories of that store, and I loved it. But unfortunately, it closed down. Nice. But yeah, so good. But yeah, and I don't think I ever read the issue. I might have flipped through it, but like I don't recall what happened.
You weren't plugged in. You know anything else was going on.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's nice to see that I'm like, oh, this is like right. This is coming up right on like some of my touchstones from the comics and stuff, and I really enjoy that. And I'm looking forward to this next issue, and I'm still loving where this is going. I can't. I'm getting scared though, Ryan. I'm getting a little bit afraid, a little scared because
a little scared
because people talk a lot of garbage about this run, and I'm afraid that like we're getting like Icarus, you know what I mean? We're getting a little too close.
Flying too close.
Like we're flying too high because
I've heard trash, so I am a little curious about how it shakes out. So we'll see.
So I'm anxious to get there, but at the same time, I want to enjoy this ride. But I don't know. But nevertheless, anyway, well, hey, we want to know what you think about this issue. Did you enjoy this? Did you forget about Leatherhead? Hey, and like what's your saying that you're gonna say when you get shot? Because, we're going to say, I'm hit. And if you agree with that, if you like that, or if you got something different, let us know. turtlesoupshow@gmail.com. Also, if you want to get up to breast on all of the story that we've been reviewing so far, you can do that by going to turtlesoupshow.com. And that's the home of the internet. That's where all of our episodes are up, and you can listen to all of that. We should also be on any podcast app that you're listening to or watching or whatever the case may be, however you intake or receive information. And, and if you want to stay up to breast as to what we're doing personally and with the show behind the scenes, Turtle Soup Show with the underscores on Instagram, and join the Facebook group with a lot of cool people on there, a lot of fun conversations to be had, and we appreciate all of them. And then if you want to go the extra mile to make sure that Turtle Soup keeps going and we don't say clang, and you just want to be someone we consider family, someone we call family, you can do that by going to patreon.com. Find that Turtle Soup's been making a podcast for, come October of this year, 10 years. And and if you want to keep this train going and help us to stay in our stepping shoes, is that what I said? Our stepping shoes? Yeah.
Yes, the stepping shoes.
Patreon.com. For as little as $1, you can throw some pennies our way, and that keeps us on track and keeps us from saying clang. And you get some cool swag, which I'm about to send out to all of our patrons pretty soon. So be on the lookout for that. And I think other than that, if you don't mind, if you're watching us on YouTube, please like and subscribe and hit the bell if you can. Stuff. And let other people know about us if you think they'll enjoy the show. We really appreciate that. And we've gotten a lot of love from people in different Turtles groups that I've seen. And thank you to everyone who's been saying very nice things about us on the internet. We sincerely appreciate that. And I think that's going to do it for tonight's episode. So
that'll do it.
All righty. Well, we will catch you next time. So, else time.
Else time.